It's daybreak here on Authorises, and it's that time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages of the papers. We're starting with the Sun newspaper this morning. And the Sun newspaper. By the way, welcome, Emmanuel. I forgot that. Emmanuel Bello is joining us on the paper review. Glad to have you join us. TGIF. Today's Friday. Yep. All right, the Sun. CBN okays 20,000 Naira daily counter withdrawal. Reads Riot Act to banks. No sit-at-home order in Southeast on election day. This is coming from IPOB, where the question is, where should there be any at all, even before the election day? Buhari unhappy over difficulties in getting redesigned Naira notes. That is coming from the finance minister presidency. SADA middle belt leaders endorse OB. Customs intercept $6 million fake currency, passports of various nationals at Seme border. Wike working for Tinubu PDP campaign council is alleging that, and 2 dead, 50 trapped in Abuja collapse building.
The Nigerian Tribune, CBN directs banks to pay 20,000 Naira over the counter. 2 killed, more than 40 trapped, 20 rescued as 2-story building collapses in Gwarempa in Abuja. Southern Middle Belt leaders reaffirm Obi as preferred candidate. The distribution problem, panic buying, greed, fueling petrol scarcity. That's according to the NNPC limited boss, Kyari. The PDP accuses Wike of anti-party activities, denies working with the APC, and customs seized fake dollars worth 2.7 billion Naira in Lagos.
The Punch newspaper. The Punch is filled with some interesting stories. At New Naira crisis, Authorises forces inciting Nigerians. Authorises forces inciting Nigerians against APC. This is coming from El Rufai. He says cabal misinforming the president. Atiku benefiting from Naira confusion. The Kaduna governor is saying that come out to vote even if they devalue Naira drastically, Tinubu tells supporters. CBN policy inflicting pain on the masses and businesses. NLC TUC Niger governor is saying this. And if you look at the towards the down of that paper, bandits display new Naira notes, experts indict bankers. UK turned down DSA extradition request, says AIG. Smuggling, government shuts 270 filling stations. PDP knocks Wike, accuses governor of anti-party activities. We'll just stop there with Punch.
Now this is the Guardian. CSOs picket officers as banks beam searchlight on branch managers. INEC insists elections will not be postponed. The 25th of February and March the 11th. NNPC denies plot to frustrate polls and awards Kaduna refinery contract. Afenifere, the Middle Belt Forum, PANDEF or Haneze Unite, back Peter Obi. Islamic group JNI wants security operatives punished over Nasarawa killings, and Eno Shobo Tinubu insists he helped Buhari to power and will succeed him.
All right, let's look at the I paper. The I paper, we'll go to the foreign papers now. The I paper, all right. Energy firms ordered to stop force-feeding prepaid meters in Britain's poorest homes. And Shania Twain, for those of us who know her, I grew up afraid of my family.
The Financial Times. Stocks and bonds rally as investors bet interest rates are close to peak. And Shell benefits from soaring energy bills as it profits more than double to its profits double to more than $40 billion.
The Guardian newspaper. The Guardian, calls for tougher windfall tax after Shell post obscene record profits. Afghan refugees told to quit London.
The Daily Telegraph, lockdown damage to workforce is permanent. That's the ongoing strikes in the UK.
All right, Glad to have you join us, Emmanuel Bello. Good morning to you.
Thank God it's Friday.
Indeed.
All
right.
Yeah.
Some interesting stories on the front page of The Punch. Authorises forces inciting Nigerians against APC. This is coming from El Rufai. He was on air yesterday. And then this question of experts indicting bankers over bandits displaying new notes. UK turning down Diazani extradition request, says AIG. And then smuggling. Government shuts 270 filling stations.
Yeah, very big stories, and a weekend, at least the working week, end up with a very, very, very strong story. And it's, I think, but the big story there that I think we sell this paper will be this, the El Rufai charge that, look, even the new Naira crisis is actually deliberately designed to turn Nigerians against APC. But a lot of Nigerians will disagree with that, say that, look, even before this hardship, Nigerians have seen all sorts of hardship. It is the insecurity, it is the flip-flopping of this government, it is the crisis of, leadership, it is the disconnect between the people and power that has actually united people. What you are saying today, and from what I hear from people, is that, well, this is the hardship and the suffering. This is almost like it's reached its zenith, for want of a better term, and no pun intended here. But that is what have actually annoyed many Nigerians. And what El Rufai is saying, that this particular policy, alone, is what is annoying Nigerians. It's beyond that. I think Nigerians have actually, associated the APC and its leadership with all sorts of things already before now. And for many people, it's just the culmination of all their anger and their frustration. It's just that, according to many people, this has just gotten to a head. And they are not blaming anyone. They're blaming government squarely. So, but the only, the funny thing that is happening is that both El Rufai, who is the member of the APC, a governor of the APC, and Tinubu, who is actually the presidential candidate, are actually also in agreement with Nigerians that the APC have failed. Funny enough, and almost like, some kind of, comic, contradiction, is that they seek to actually bring back that same government. That is what they seek to bring back. But they keep, doubling down on telling Nigerians that the APC and its policy have not worked very well for the people. Certainly this one has actually even backfired as far as they are concerned. In telling people this, they are feeding into what the PDP is saying. And the PDP is just having, or the other opposition parties are just having a good time saying, you are just saying it the way we will have said it. That's the danger of the kind of rhetoric coming from El Rufai and Tinubu.
Well, Emmanuel, still in the policy of the redesign, the Central Bank of Nigeria's policies, and they did mention a certain talked about smuggling and a terrorist wielding the new Naira notes.
Yeah,
Emmanuel, it does appear that we cannot trust our commercial banks.
Well, it's a straight war now between even bank managers and the CBN with all sort of. But yesterday I was somewhere to say bank manager, and she said she's just coming from a meeting, of the bank managers, and there seems to be a mistrust. You're right, a disconnect between the Apex Bank and what the lower banks are doing, because it's not as if those new notes are not there. It will look now as if the bank managers actually trading in it and doing all sorts of.
But that's what they're doing, because the CBN says that sent the cash into the commercial
exactly.
bank.
So that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah,
that's why I say it's a clear war now between the bank managers and the CBN, the Apex body, which is really, really frustrating. And I think for the CBN, they didn't even envisage that this was going to happen. Nobody. Yesterday we did a story of Nigerians actually trading in foreign currencies now around the border. At the borders. It's been there like that before, I think, in the past, but this has actually just upped the ante in that direction. And then the sort of stories we're hearing around the new notes, the fact that under, the shady deals and all that around the new notes. The good news is that now the banks have been told to actually pay up to 20,000 to people that will withdraw money over the counter. So I don't know whether that will solve this problem. But every other day we wake up and CBN is, thinking of new ways to deal with a problem that they didn't even envisage. Everybody think that this was a beautiful policy. Yes, take out the cash from the bad guys so that there won't be vote buying and all of that. But it's like the CBN has to grapple with what's happening right now with those new notes. and then the crisis that it never actually dreamed of. Not to speak of what the likes of Timo are saying, that this was actually directed at their campaign. These are the new kind of crises that, you know, emanated from something that the CBN believed that it has already actually worked it out, and that it's a policy that was going to be embraced by all and sundry. And I think people were ready to actually understand that yes, vote buying is wrong and all that. What people are dealing with now is the crisis of paucity, the lack of access to the new notes.
All right, the Sun newspaper, no sit-at-home order in Southeast on election day. IPOB is saying that, and like I wondered, why should there be sit-at-home at all, whether it's election day or not? And then this story we carried yesterday, 2 dead, 50 trapped in Abuja collapsed building.
Another collapsed building.
Yeah.
The whole of last year was stories around issues of collapsed building. You will think that somebody, and sometimes I don't know whether it's our fault in the media, we don't follow through to this story to do what happened to the guy in the Lagos collapsed building. No one has ever lost their job, so we don't see a conclusion. It's to the investigations around collapsed building. But we must do something about it. And the engineers came together last year to say, look, part of it is the quackery that is in their business, in the business of building, and of course fake, building materials and all of that. That has to be investigated, and some kind of closure will have to come into it. IPOB saying that, look, there's no sit at home. You are right. Why should there even be sit at home at all? Those sit at homes are not really helping anyone. If they're not going to help this election, they certainly don't help the day-to-day activities of the average Southeasterner who depends on actually moving out, going to sell these things, and then you ask him to stay at home. It's serving no purpose. It's something that's beyond the election. IPOB or whoever is ordering the sit at home should sit back and wonder whether this is actually helpful. From what I hear from people, they are really not even attuned with it. They don't like it. They are forced to sit at home, and it's wrong to actually get people to do things that they don't really want to do. But it's a good thing. It's a relief that at least they are allowing people to come out for elections.
I don't find it palatable talking about IPOB because one, they've been outlawed by the federal government, and I will blame the governors in the southeast for letting it fester and granting them such powers and authority to issue instructions and declarations. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, the Authorises, the PANDAF, the Middle Belt Forum, the Southern group have once again reiterated their support for Peter Obi. But in Osun, Tinubu's been campaigning and saying he will take over from Buhari. Emmanuel, how far will these endorsements from the Southern and Middle Belt Forum go for the Labour Party candidate?
Well, yeah, off the bat, it's actually a good one. It's seasons of endorsement, and whoever endorses you doesn't just endorse you as a person. He endorses you with his entire, arsenal. If it's Pande, for instance, they come with all their people and their opinion molders. If it's the Middle Belt Forum, they talk to, and the Middle Belt is that part of the North. It's normally called the minority North, but it's a very influential body, the Middle Belt Forum, and a support from Middle Belt Forum, I can assure you, Kenneth, it's a huge one, because it's that part of the North that some people will even argue that, look, the Middle Belt Forum has got a lot of membership, almost toe-to-toe with the larger North, and that whatever support they're going to get, and we're talking of Plateau State, Benue, Taraba, and a whole lot of places, all the way to Niger State, and even some parts of Sokoto and all of that, where you ever find minorities in the North, they consider themselves Middle Belt Forum. That is how powerful that group, and it has a long history behind it. So that support might be one that Peter Obi might be using to get into what is called the core North, or the heart of the North, and if he has Pandef in the support. The only problem with the socio-cultural organization support is that they do not have the voice or the power to actually ask everybody around them to say, look, we are backing this person, go there. The kind of elections we are going to actually beat all those endorsements, but it's a good feel, and it's good for the optics, and it's a good thing that Obi is getting the kind of support he's getting. But the big story is Tinubu going to Osogbo and saying that, look, he helped Buhari. He's doubling down on what he said. The very first pronouncement he made when he was making the Emilio Con's pronouncement that, look, he helped Buhari the first and the second and the third time. You remember Lule, that the first time Buhari couldn't do it. And that Buhari was crying somewhere, weeping, and he went to him and said, look, I can help you become president. So he creates or paints that picture of someone who put you in place, and now he's coming to take over that place. He's still saying those stories. How that is going to help him, I don't know. But certainly this has caused a serious rift in the party, and people blaming strongly. It's almost like an open war between Tinubu now and Buhari on one side. And the opposition is just trying to catch in on that. And some people are even seeing it like some kind of sick joke that some people will say that it is just justice or some kind of karma catching up with gang leaders who took this country 8 years ago, and now they're at each other's throat, with one saying you must leave that seat for me. And Buhari is sitting there, his people saying, look, we're not fighting anybody, we want transparent election. And each time you talk about transparent election, the Tinubu camp seems to think that you mean that the president is not giving Tinubu all the support he needs to get. So it's almost comical, but it's happening there, and Tinubu is not backing out of that, his belief. El-Rufai backing him and saying that yes, there are forces in the villa trying to stop Tinubu.
All right, we'll leave it there, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag @AriseDaybreak.